This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
This season marks a new beginning. Witness the raw power, iconic sound, and pure speed from the historic Lotus 79. Experience the competition and glory days of early 80s open-wheel action. Watch as drivers wrestle these ground effects cars into submission. Drivers will face off wheel to wheel. For some, it's a chance at redemption. For others, an opportunity to make a statement. All sharing the same goal, to be crowned champion. Who will be victorious tonight? The Lionheart Retro Series presented by Butt Kicker starts now.
Well, there are few places on Earth quite as beautiful as the California coast. And few tracks in the world provide the backdrop of one of America's great sporting venues. This is WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca. It's Thursday night, and that means we're live on the iRacing Esports Network for round 16 of the Lionheart Retro Series presented by Butt Kicker. This is the Graphics Grand Prix of Laguna Seca. Good evening, I'm Jason Galvin alongside the banker, Brian Yazik. I'm Jed Yaman is calling the shots tonight. Cameras provided by Dougie Beard, and this is the Sim Experience Countdown to the Green for the Lionheart Retro Series. As they get ready to go at Laguna Seca, let's take you around the track.
Welcome to Laguna Seca. Located just east of Monterey, California, it's hard to deny that this is one of the more scenic American road courses. It travels up and down a hillside which not only offers spectacular views, but one of racing's most iconic corners. Clocking in at 2.25 miles in length, 11 turns split up the current configuration. I say current because up until 1988, the track's layout was shockingly simple with a mere 9 dangerously fast corners. But despite becoming a much more technical track, this difficult nature was retained in its modern form. Turn 6 in particular places an emphasis on precision and daring with its tricky dip at the apex and narrow racing line. But the most well-known spot on the track is of course the corkscrew. Blind and kinked on entry, it then whips the driver through a chicane which drops you nearly 60 feet. It's earned a reputation worldwide for forcing even the most daring competitors to second-guess themselves. But there's honestly a refreshingly wide variety in types of corners, making it a perfect track for driver coaching and training. Elevation changes, differing cambers, and every sort of apex imaginable leaves seasoned veterans and newcomers alike spending hours trying to perfect a lap. With the track becoming popular for hosting IMSA, IndyCar, and MotoGP in its recent history, it also brings out lots of vintage racers due to the Monterey Historics each year. Likely to remain a fixture on the American racing scene, this legendary circuit is almost always high on drivers' best-of lists. Its history and its uniqueness are sure to delight all for years to come.
Well, that's WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca, and Brian, a track that is, I know, a favorite of everybody in the open wheel racing community. Heck, the racing community in general loves this facility. It's put on great events over the years for sports cars and open wheel cars, does some great historic races now in real life. It's a shame that we've never gotten the stock car boys to show up there for a real serious race. I feel like it'd be a lot of fun here at WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca. But tonight, a different challenge for these retro cars, these Lotus L79s, and for as much fun as this track is and as well known as it is, it's still a pretty difficult track to get around.
You're absolutely right, Jason. Hello, welcome everybody to another Global Sim Racing Channel broadcast on iRacing Esports Network. There you see on the track, Laguna Seca, 11 corners. Technically, you can make the corkscrew into 2 corners, but they decided to call it 8 and then 8A. So you see, and you're watching Saunders in the background, providing a beautiful backdrop to just kind of the flow of the track. Laguna Seca is a very flowy track, I guess, if that makes sense. If you've put a lot of laps here, you'd probably kind of understand where I'm going with that. It's very, very rhythm based. So you can find yourself running way wide in down into kind of the Andretti hairpin down there, because it's just so easy to overshoot that corner because the double lefts there just kind of sneak up on you. So watching Dustin Wardlow just exiting the corkscrew, I believe, and working his way through there. And you kind of see just how it all flows around here at Laguna Seca. I mean, Jason, we got to come here next week for or not next week, but the week after for the IndyCar race. I mean, what do you think about this little joint?
Yeah, I mean, this is a track that I feel like all racers have kind of a love-hate relationship with, because it's such a fun facility to get around, Yaz. But, talked about the corkscrew. And the corkscrew is the never-ending pit of death, it feels like, lap by lap. I feel like, at least for me, and I've had pretty fortunate success around this track, but every time you get through the corkscrew, it's like, oh, okay, deep breath. We made it. We'll see you again in about a minute and 20 seconds.
Yeah, so, I mean, yeah, that's the other thing too about Laguna Seca or Mazda or rather WeatherTech. It's gone over a couple name changes throughout the last several years. Right now, landing at WeatherTech Raceway at Laguna Seca. But yeah, I mean, quick lap times here. I mean, we're watching on screen. Is that Saunders, I believe? Right now, Saunders on pole provisionally with a 1:14 flat. I mean, for these Lotus 79s that make a little bit less horsepower and get around the track a little bit quicker, or a little bit less quick than maybe the Indy cars or some of the other vehicles that race around here, I mean, it's real easy to see, just from the viewer at home. You can watch these sweeping corners, and it's so easy on corner exit to place a tire wrong.
It is very easy to place a tire wrong here, and this track is a lot of fun. And so are our sponsors here in the Lionheart Retro Series, and that includes our friends at Sim Experience. The Countdown to Green brought to you by Sim Experience. That's the team behind the AccuForce Pro V2 direct drive steering system, provides unparalleled realism and the most advanced tuning features on the market. The AccuForce provides a significant advantage to any sim racer, can also make for effective training tools for real-world drivers. For more information on the entire Sim Experience ecosystem, including the GS5 seat, Stage Series motion systems, and the SimVibe software, visit simexperience.com. Promo code for 5% off of SimVibe software is SimXLion. And, of course, I've already seen them advertise some great Black Friday deals coming up as well next week for our friends over there at Sim Experience. Let's take a look at the points as they stand here in the Lionheart Retro Series presented by Butt Kicker, with just 3 events left. And these point standings, I believe now, are factoring in drops. Yes, they are indeed. So this is with drop weeks factored in, and you get 2 drops in the Lionheart Retro Series. And frankly, this championship is Ryan Otis's to lose in the most catastrophic of ways. If Ryan Otis found a way to lose the title at this point, it would be beyond a stunning turn of events. Mine is him just flat out missing the last 2 races of the season. 721 points for Otis gives him a 155 point advantage over David Clymer, pardon me. And this is a tall task for Dustin Wardlow if he wants to catch David Clymer as well. Wardlow sits 41 points back of second, but there's a great battle shaping up for the 3rd and final podium spot. Paul Jenkins, Chris Lanini, Mark Cohn, Dean Mall, even Sage Karam, all right there in the ballpark for striking distance to Dustin Wardlow, depending on how things go. Let's take a look now at the team standings here in the Lionheart Retro Series, presented by PlasmaTracks.com, Plasma-Tracks.com. Don't forget the dash. Again, holidays are coming up, Plasma-Tracks.com if you want the cool present for the cool racing fan in your family. Team standings. I'm going to go ahead and call this one, Yaz. How you feel about that?
We can call that.
This is
I don't
safe.
know too
Okay.
much more. Yeah.
All right, yeah. I haven't really fully studied how the team points system works, but yes, I'm calling this one in the third quarter. It's over. Raven Motorsports Black. Raven Motorsports, of course, is our team champion 1 year ago. Here in the Retro Series, NLR Sim Racing, though, has jumped up into the number 2 spot, making kind of a late season charge there with Mark Cohn and Finian and Joe Hassert as well. Let's take a look at the rookie standings. Rookie of the Year presented by our friends at Butt Kicker. And no surprise here, we've got a lot of rookies in the class. David Clymer is leading the Rookie of the Year points. That'll happen when you're second in the championship standings as well in your rookie year. So Clymer with a firm grasp on Rookie of the Year. Paul Jenkins, Chad Dalton, Marty Gramal, and Sage Karam also right there in the top 5 for our Rookie of the Year, presented by Butt Kicker. Rolling through qualifying right now, still have 3 minutes left. It is Sage Karam by over a tenth of a second on Alex Saunders. Saunders 1,000th better than George Sandman, and Ryan Otis just another 10th back of them. So right now we got 4 cars up front. Yes, we get 4 cars within 3/10 of a second, and that's going to make for an interesting first couple of laps here around Laguna Seca. And I'm very interested here with the retro car he has, and I don't recall that we ran this car here in a race that I ran, or maybe I missed it, but I'm trying to think back.
This is the inaugural.
Event. Right, yes. So this car, the way that it drafts, and Laguna Seca, not a track you would normally think of where a draft or a tow would come into play, but here, the first couple laps coming down the front straightaway, up and over the hill, I think there's going to be some interesting moments with those first 4.
You can definitely set it up as you go down there towards kind of the end of the front stretch. Getting that big punch up the, or that big pull up the straight, really trying to get sucked in there. I mean, it could really make for some, you're kind of right, sending down into that corner, the Andretti hairpin, as it's kind of affectionately known as around here. Could really lend for some kind of overdrive, or maybe some brave moments. Maybe someone trying to replicate their inner Daniel Ricciardo in their braking technique, but potentially ending up like Kvyat. So that's probably not the exact way that they want to be. But then also look, I think it's up the, I believe it's called the Rahal Straight, that kind of leads up to the corkscrew. That's another kind of spot that these Lotus cars might pull a little bit of suck heading up into the corkscrew.
And for as tight as the top 4 are, look at 5th through 8th right now are separated by 0.04 of a second, 0.04. I'm just coming off of the season finale for the NHRA at Pomona, and 0.04 is a number that we probably talk about quite a bit at the drag races. Usually not something you talk about when you're talking about 4 or 5 cars on a road course here with a Formula One style car like the L79. So it's going to make for quite an interesting start of this race here. Let's take a look here, if we can, real quick at the series details presented by our friends at Minus 273. This is the Lotus L79, as we mentioned here. It is a 5-speed manual clutch car, which for those drivers who run with the H pattern and the clutch makes it a fun car to drive. It is busy, let me tell you that. So this is round 16 of 18. As we mentioned, 2 drops are factored in. These are adjusted, fixed setups. Means that there's a great team led by Andrew Kinsella who works on these setups week in and week out to tweak them for each race. Over $7,600 in cash and prizes on the line this season. Yaz, what are you watching in this one?
I mean, you kind of be all over the place. You can look at Otis and kind of see how hard does he really push that 95 machine. I mean, he's in a very comfortable place. He's probably already down the road thinking, what do I have to do to potentially clinch at our next event at Mosport up there across the border? So, I mean, you could see that. I mean, you're obviously looking at Sage Karam, Alex Saunders. Those two drivers put on a phenomenal show at Road America. So, I mean, you can see kind of that battle rekindle as well. Sandman, not anyone to sleep on as well. And, in F1, they kind of call it the best of the rest. And you look outside of that top four, I mean, there could be a lot of interesting battles that can shape up over the course of this 56 laps. And then sprinkle a little bit of fuel mileage concerns on it as well.
Let's take a look at the grid and the starting lineup for tonight's Graphics Grand Prix of Laguna Seca. We are going 56 laps, 125 miles. Big thanks to Tyler Graff for his sponsorship of this event. Facebook.com/motorsport graphic design if you want to check out the great work that Graphics does, the official livery provider, graphics designer of the Lionheart Racing Series. Starting grid brought to you by Butt Kicker, and it is Sage Karam on the pole, 1 minute 13.580. The pole speed for this race. Alex Saunders edges out George Sandman officially by 1/1000th of a second. It did round up there on our standings. Ryan Otis will start fourth. Row 3 is Dustin Wardlow, the Candyman, and Mark Cohn, the Watchman. Get a couple of pretty neat nicknames in row 3. Little Train, Lionel Callisto, and Scott Holmes. Row number 4, and Ryan Corns and JP Winshittle round out the top 10.
Row 6 is headlined by Travis Jagerliner and Aaron Morgan. James Paulson, 13th, with Chad Dalton, 14th. Dean Marty Grummel in the 15th spot, with David Clymer to his outside. 17th, Frank Beezer, Richie Hearn not taking a time, as well as Paul Jenkins, Cody Eldred in the 10th row back there. And a couple others just to clean up there, Finian. Oh, no, not Finian. Tyson Landis and Chris Reagan also rounding out the field back there. 20, not quite 23 machines I see rolling. It's always hard to tell initially because there's some cars that are rolling, some cars are not here. Maybe it looks like Richie isn't here. Everybody else is connected in the session, so we'll call that 22 cars.
Maybe he's going to start from the pits.
Or start from the garage. Apparently, that's a new trick. So we'll have to see.
is that a new trick?
Yeah. It's kind of like that video where you kind of surprised your dog by disappearing behind the sheet. I mean, I think he's going to try that. There's someone I saw on the front stretch with the sheet, but I don't think it's going to quite work. Let's go take a look at some onboard cameras here that we have at Laguna Seca. Dustin Wardlow in our graphics camera on board, right up above the driver's head. See that Raven Motorsports machine working its way up this Ray Hall straightaway up to the corkscrew. From there, we're going to move back to Travis Jagerliner in the plasma-tracks.com on board, looking over the left side of the helmet. And then we're going to go up to championship leader, potentially almost clincher, Ryan Otis in that number 95 machine. That paint scheme, very, very familiar to fans of this facility. Should bring back some memories there in that butt kicker on board. Jason, let's light this fuse off, baby.
Bring in the cars down the hill here at Laguna Seca, and the pace car will peel off, ready to go for 56 laps. The Lionheart Retro Series, and the green flag is in the air. This is the Graphics Grand Prix at WeatherTech Laguna Seca, and Sage Karam shot out of a cannon down into turn 1. Will clear for the lead. The battle for second, it's Alex Saunders on the outside of George Sandman. Saunders goes wide into the dirt. Don't see him make that mistake much. Creates an opening for Ryan Otis. Otis around the outside of 3, and Saunders able to stick with it. Should have the advantage through 4 in one of the faster parts at the bottom section of this racetrack. Can Otis keep his nose in there is the question, and the answer is no. Alex Saunders gets clear, and look at the gap that Sage Karam and George Sandman have already opened in the top 2, back to Saunders and Otis and Dustin Wardlow, your top 5 as they run up the Rahal straight towards the corkscrew for the first time in this one.
Many people remember the pass in the Champ Car Series from Alex Zanardi here. It's probably the most famous clip of racing, I feel, around this facility. Probably what got its name out there in the lores of open wheel racing in the United States of America. And you see, for a road course, we're already back around to the start finish straight. So you see just how quick everything comes around. We got someone stopped on the front stretch.
It's Scott Holmes. Going to take another look at it here.
A little looper out of 11, it looked like to me.
Over that one. And that's going to end Scott Holmes' race. Boy, Scott Holmes spun around, and he just kind of nosed it in. Oh, no, he caught it pretty good. That car stuck. And then, insult to injury, he drove it into the wall again. I'm guessing the steering was not straight. So Scott Holmes, so a tough night.
Oh, goodness gracious. James Paulson having a moment kind of at the turn 3, turn 4 section of the facility. Got off into the dirt, almost had it wrecked, but saved it, brought it back, and now under attack from Paul Jenkins there in that other black and gold machine for Skidmark Motorsport.
That is the easiest spot, I think, to go off the track as Paulson works around Frank Bieser into the corkscrew. That's brave.
That was one way
a nice move.
Corkscrew.
James Paulson shows you can make things work. Meanwhile, Sage Karam's already up the hill and across the stripe to lead lap number 2. We will be keeping an eye on fuel here throughout this race because we've heard varying fuel numbers, anything as low as 15 up to 19 for laps that can be run. If you do the math, the problem with that is it's a 56-lap race, so that could be the difference between 2 and 3 stopping it, depending on how your fuel mileage works out.
It just adds another ripple, kind of like at the end of Road America, I feel, where everybody's be looking at the leaders and just kind of seeing where they're at. Could just, could explain some early pacing that we're seeing. Maybe Sage has decided to go with a non-fuel saving strategy, which I don't really think he's really done.
Dustin Wardlow with some issues.
Oh, he's sitting backwards. Oh, that's front wing damage on that number 9 machine.
Dustin Wardlow, he missed last night's IndyCar Series race, and I know that he's been busy with some work stuff of late. I'm sure we'll be disappointed with that. That car just got off and got all the way into the tires, and that is a lot of front wing damage for one of these retro cars here. Yeah, as we've seen, you can get away with bending the front wing, and it won't hurt it, too bad. That's not a bend. That is.
When that front wing is pretty much perpendicular to the racetrack, it's not where you necessarily want to be. But Dustin, it might be able to hang on to it. Yeah, he's a very skilled driver out there. Road course, maybe take advantage of. In fact, he loves turning left and right in the Lionheart series. Get some guys sleeping that maybe aren't so good on the roads and the left and the right. So you never know. You just keep plugging away at it.
A good battle going on up here for 5th place, 5th, 6th, 7th. Really 5th on back. Boy, Mark Cohn, do yourself a favor and don't look in the mirror. Behind them is Little Train and Morgan and JP, and Ryan Korn's not too far back even from that. So
they're all starting to stack up behind Mark, and you have to. Those are the moments where you look in the mirror, and if you're holding up one guy, you're like, all right, that's not bad. And then you see the relative that there's 3 more behind him, real close. You go, oh, this could be fun.
Dustin Wardlow come on the mic there, and he thought maybe he had another issue, but he's actually thanking the driver for letting him get around. Meanwhile, I'm taking a look up front, and on the last lap, maybe not as much, but the lap before, Alex Saunders and Ryan Otis really started cutting in to George Sandman. And this last time around, Alex Saunders was able to cut in again.
Pretty good lap times up there from the sharp end of the point of the field. Sage Karam right now laying him down just as quick as he can. Sandman Saunders about 3-4 tenths off of that speed, but then you look at that last time by for Otis, Saunders, and Sandman, and all of them within a tenth, probably 10th and a half of each other. So it's kind of the dynamics of the race. I feel are going to go through a big shift as we work our way closer to the end of it.
Did have some updates. Richie Hearn had some internet troubles. Chose not to race. And Finian Acuna decided to start from the pits in this one and has thus far not really made much time.
It could have been some gremlin there, because I noticed that Finian connected pretty much right before the grid began. So could have just been a technical gremlin, got in a little late, decided to start from the pits. But hey, he's already up a spot. And he's working over. He's kind of caught that back, some of the back end of this field, and he's kind of working his way through here. So this could be a very interesting battle as well.
Yeah, Finian's got Tyson Landis and Cody Eldred, and the battle Dustin Wardlow. We got a spin. Cody went around, and that didn't end well.
Well, it ended better than it did for Holmes.
That could have been catastrophic for Tyson Landis and Finian. Finian was the real benefactor there. He picked up 2 spots, and I think Tyson probably got an off track.
Just that, it's the second time that we've seen that. I noticed it a little bit in practice too. What makes that final corner so tricky to try to lay that power down? It seems like it's a pretty, carry some momentum in, kind of roll off and call it good.
Yeah, I wonder if this car, this car struggles when you put too much wheel in it, and the one thing is it's a 8 corner, right? And so the combination of the power and the wheel, could be the problem.
A little bit
Keep
of
an eye on
everything.
that. Yeah, it is a little bit of everything in this car. George Sandman really starting to feel the heat now from Alex Saunders. Ryan Otis has not really been able to close in, but let me tell you, that second place battle is going to be interesting here sooner than later. In fact, last lap, George Sandman 1:14.35. Alex Saunders 1:13.97. Fastest car on the track by a bunch is Alex Saunders.
That purple machine flying through there. Saunders obviously no slouch if you're a fan of the retro series from last season. That purple machine, black and purple machine, should be very, very familiar to viewers. Very strong on the roads. So not super surprising that he's riding up there. He's got some good pace, and that machine just looks stable. Go back to Frank Bieser in the 16th spot. Looks like had a little adventure there.
Frank was getting ready to come up the hill under the Mother's Bridge, and boy, they just way too much curb there. Is that what it looked like?
Yeah, I mean, this facility really rewards getting the power down on exit, and it makes it so inviting to try overdriving.
Oh boy, that hurt the wing too, big time. Yep. You could see it tweak there. So turn 6 is interesting. Turn 5 is pretty wide left, and if you look at a track map, you'd think there's similar corners. Turn 5 pretty wide and sweeping. Turn 6 has this huge dip in it, and you got to hit it almost perfect. See Dustin Wardlow's in, maybe going to try to get that front wing fixed up a little bit there. Hopefully that car will still be able to continue. But turn 6 has this kind of downhill dip and a big like donut type of curb on the inside, and you've got to just split the difference there between hitting that curb and hitting the dip, and the car will settle nicely. But boy, if you miss it, 6 can be catastrophic, and it can also ruin your entire run up the Rahal Straight. Should point out, that we have an update on fuel numbers, and we understand that those were maybe delivered to us inaccurately, and that the fuel window is actually 26 to 27 laps, which, again, if you do the math, still makes it pretty interesting, because we're going 56 and a 25, 50, 27, 54, 27, 54. You're going to have to do a lot of saving.
Well, it's kind of like the old, back in math class, if
9 plus 10 equals 21.
If the race starts at 4:10 p.m. and the average speed is, of some, the average speed is 116 miles an hour. What
Statistics?
color shirt is the
Yeah,
shirt is the track
right.
marshal in the corkscrew wearing?
I love statistics class for that reason specifically, let me tell you. You know who I feel like would be really good at stats?
Who's that?
Alex Saunders. He put together some statistical stuff for the admin team over the last couple years.
He's kind of a number wizard, isn't he?
He is a numbers wizard, yeah. Dustin Wardlow really good with numbers too, by the way. He's a spreadsheety, Excel-y, numbers-y guy. Something tells me Ryan Otis is probably also very good at that stuff.
Spreadsheety. That's
Spreadsheety.
Sounds like a bad spray cheese.
It's a new one. We should get T-shirts made for the Lionheart meetup next year.
There's something to add to the GSRC swag shop.
Right?
Spreadsheety, in quotations, score Jason Gelb.
Battle for fifth continues. That's Mark Cohn, the Watchman. Of course, has an affinity for collecting watches of all makes and models and types, and he's got a little train all over the back of him. In fact, Callisto going to make a move, and Mark Cohn gave him a boatload of room as they went into turn 5, and now they'll hit turn 6, and Lionel able to get clear. Mark Cohn will just chase him up the hill and try to defend now, because here comes Aaron Morgan to the party as well. Pat Cohn really struggling right now, it looks like, as they went through the corkscrew there.
Yeah, that corkscrew was not his friend that lap. There was just no flow to it. I was kind of talking to Buck this earlier on in the event. Laguna Seca, kind of like a good rocking chair. When you just kind of get into that nice rhythm and you're moving along. Jason, maybe in your case, you're holding on to the little one and you just got that nice little rock. That's that's just kind of a nice way to explain a lap around here, and that just kind of messed that up. But here comes Morgan sending it down to the inside into the Andretti hairpin and taking over the spot.
And now JP is right there as well. And if JP Winchittle can get through the next couple of corners, he could maybe set himself up for a similar run that Little Train had and get underneath Mark Cohn going into turn 5. Let's see if he's got a big enough run here. He's trying to use some of that draft. He's not going to get there. And now he's going to have to maybe reset here, back up turn number 6, and try to get that run off of 6 up the hill towards the corkscrew. Not sure he's got the run he needs. JP also looks like might be blinking in and out a little bit there.
Yeah, a little bit of that back and forth. JP's kind of had an up and down season, so I know he'd like to get a good result. Trying to make kind of the best of it as you can. People trying to set up their 2020 plans, and so I could just try to position, build up some momentum, get ready for next season.
Think back to the incredible battle that JP had at Imola. That was amazing. And is this Cody Eldred on pit road? Did he tow? The front of that car looks like it might have had an excursion. Let's look. Well, I think we might not have it here. Well, he pitted on his own. Yeah, maybe Cody, maybe the love-hate relationship has drifted to the hate side of things for one Cody Eldred here at WeatherTech Raceway, Laguna Seca.
Justin Wardlow has disconnected as well. Unfortunate for fans of that man.
But Dewars Candy. If you're
that
looking
is not
for
unfortunate.
If you are looking for a just spectacular stocking stuffer, go get a box of chews from Dewars. And if you've never had them, just go to Dewars' website and look them up and order and enjoy. And you can send Yaz and I a thank you card for taking our advice and getting said chews. DewarsCandy.com.
And my thank you is getting me some Dewars chews. So if you just go in there and order 2 boxes and just send them my way, that'd be cool.
Yeah, 2 to Yaz, 1 to yourself. That's what we call the 3-finger special. This is Mark Cohn still trying to hang on as we get back to the action here at WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca. We're working lap 13, and Mark is Still got JP right behind him. He's actually done a good job of holding off JP, but let me tell you, he is holding up JP, and I think JP has just been unable to really get a run. Lionel and Aaron Morgan have checked out from this group. In fact, Ryan Corns and Chad Dalton and Marty Gras and Travis Jagerlener and David Clymer and Lions and Tigers and Bears are all starting to catch up to these two as well. So, got to imagine at some point here, JP is going to try to push the issue a little bit and get around Mark and space himself out.
Yeah, and to the viewers at home, if this racing looks like something that you might want to be a part of for 2020, Lionheart Racing Series, always looking for new members, especially with that magical switchover of the calendars, switching those final 2 years that you write at the end of all of your checks. They are looking for interested drivers. Join the Lionheart Racing Series. For all of the information about this series, times, sponsors, plugs, everything that we've got going on, give them a visit, lionheartracingseries.com, and you can see all the spots, everything that you need if this looks like somewhere that you want to be for 2020.
And JP Winshut finally got around Mark Cohn, and Mark Cohn did not like how it happened because I heard him immediately call for an admin. It happened coming out of the Andretti hairpin and going into turn 3. And JP even kind of blinked out, and I wonder if maybe that's what Mark is going to complain about. I didn't see anything there, Yaz, necessarily that would have warranted a complaint or an issue aside from the blinking. What did you think?
Pretty much the same that I can kind of piece together. Because especially when you're holding on to that wheel and you see that guy dancing around up there or even behind you, it's very unnerving. It's not something that the real drivers have to face with.
Well, and the other problem, is when you have a driver who's blinking and you're side by side, it'll wreak havoc on your spotter.
Mm-hmm.
Right side clear, right side clear. Right, exactly. Yeah, we've all heard. Anybody who's driven an iRacing has experienced that at some point. And when you're running on a road course like that, that's got to be difficult.
Yeah, I mean, especially with the focus that it takes to get around these road courses successfully and fast. JP running a little wide there, but what it takes to get around these places, having that extra little bit of a distraction, just not the way to be. You're looking over the helmet of Travis Jagerleiner, sweeping through that corner. Kind of like what Jason was talking about earlier, up the Ray Hall Straight. Just a whole lot of elevation change at Laguna Seca, this being the biggest part of it. You take that left hand, and then you float down there. I think it's 3-story, or was it a 3-story drop? How big is that? 6-story drop.
6. Yow. Gotta wear a parachute on the way down.
Pretty much. Good babble for 7th. This is just one big old parade running around Laguna Seca. JP doing his best to try to get the heck away from it. Mark Cohn trying to chase him and not be the one that is holding up the train. But, you can look back at Corns there in the 9th spot. It seems like they are closer to him queuing up.
I was going to say Mark was, just being frank, Mark was the one holding the group up here, and the last time around, now it's JP. JP went a 116.1. Alex Saunders with problems. He's
the
lost a
screw
spot,
bites,
and it's corkscrew. I just got floaty on him. Too soon to the throttle, maybe. Just trying to chase down George Sandman. There it went.
Didn't hit anything though.
Does lose a spot to Ryan Otis. Those four had checked out so far that Alex was literally never in danger of losing more than one spot. Just tell you how far out in front all those cars are. In fact, Alex now, you talk about in no man's land for Alex Saunders. He is 6 seconds behind Ryan Otis and 13 seconds ahead of Lionel. 13 seconds after a spin. Back to 5th place for Alex.
That's putting him down, and also we were mentioning the connection for the driver of the 56 machine. Race control coming across the screen, giving him a nice little verbal warning that they notice the problem, and if it does not correct itself, I feel like it could be a very fast undoing for JP there.
Mark Cohn with problems?
Oh, yeah, he got through that corner wrong, and now he's back in the Hornets' nest, having to slam the door going into that corner, and now he's still under attack. He's got Chad Dalton looking up the inside, maybe trying to take the long way around the corkscrew. Oh, and Cohn driving it in. That caused a stack up. There's Mardi Gras on top of that. And you know what? Throw Travis Jagerliner in there as a curious bystander.
Boy, JP, meanwhile, has kind of checked out because of this.
He saw that and said, all right, bye, guys. Bye. I'm gone.
JP Winchell got warned, and he was like, well, I know how to solve this. I'm going to get checked out. Ryan Corns, Mark Cohn, Chad Dalton, Mardi Gras, Travis Jagerliner, David Clymer, James Paulson. Did I miss anybody? I feel like I just named everybody in the race.
Pretty much.
That's the line.
That's the battle through there. Missing nothing out front. Sage Karam with a 5 second advantage over George Sandman.
James Paulson's around. James Paulson was on the back end of that group, and he spun coming out of turn 4. Remember, we saw him go off there earlier. Turn 4 strikes again for Paulson, and this time he caught too much of the inside. So last time he spun in 4, well, he didn't really spin. He kind of drifted off the track because it got too wide. This time he runs right over Paulson's okay, but he lost another spot to Jenkins there. Well, Ryan Corns has started to pull away now from Mark Cohn as well.
Yeah, that's just getting out and getting gone. That's the best way to be. You know, try and get away from that pack. Run your line, run your race, just make everything okay. But he's gapping it just a hair. Mark did take 2/10 out of him that last lap by, though, so that might be a little bit of a red mist carrying over for that driver of that 39 machine.
JP Winchell, meanwhile, after that warning, has really gapped his way out in front of Ryan Corns. He's now got 3.5 second advantage back to 8th place in Corns. And the last time around was one of the quicker race cars on the track. So connection issues or not, JP Winchell has managed to find some speed here as we work lap number 20 now for your leader. And that is Sage Karam in the 3 car. Sage is already headed back up the hill. That's how far ahead of that battle we've been watching for the last 7 or 8 laps. Sage Karam is. This is turn 6, and now makes the run through the Rahal straight up towards the corkscrew. More issues for Paulson, I'm told.
Oh!
He's not going to make it from that one.
Not limping away from that one, no.
And 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out for James Paulson. This time he
through. Oh. Yeah, he got through there fine. Oh, was it these guys?
He caught the rumbles.
Yep. And then poof.
He did the dirty dancing. Somebody put Paulson in a corner.
Nobody puts Paulson in a corner.
Turn 9 put Paulson in a corner.
Yeah, that won that battle. that was the B-roll footage. Didn't make that one. That one didn't make the movie.
The rainy curve claims its first victim here in the Graphics Grand Prix of Laguna Seca. Again, Tyler Graphics, GRAA. Paints a lot of the cars you see in this race, the Lionheart IndyCar Series as well. Check them out on Facebook. If you are interested in having your race car painted, Tyler's not just an open wheel specialist, by the way. I know he's painted up some late models and super late models that I've run in big races in the past. All-American 400, I won that event in a car that was painted up by Tyler a couple years ago. So if you've got a car and you have an idea, Tyler can put pen to paper, so to speak.
Yeah.
Mouse to monitor and make it happen for you. Nothing happening with the first couple cars, and that's why we're focused mid-pack so much. Lap 22. Sage Karam, George Sandman, Ryan Otis, they're all kind of out in their own world. Alex Saunders is really on vacation now. Even Lionel is checked out from Aaron Morgan, and then back to JP Winchittle, who just got warned again for connection. And if you're wondering why, well, it's because JP's got company. Ryan Corns is right there. And I know that the admin team pretty fair when it comes to connections. Mark Cohn?
Cohn had a big issue trying to lay down the power out of turn 11, and now he is going to find himself in a hornet's nest. He's got Dalton. He's got Mardi Gras going into turn, I think that's technically 2 down there. Oh, get through there, boys. Don't hit each other. Everybody's going to get through that side fine, but that was shaping up to get real exciting down into that corner.
Wait, JP Winchittle is now under attack from Ryan Corns for 7th, and the blinking continues, and JP is just going to let Corns go. Now, I wonder, I was just getting ready to say, race control has been pretty fair all year about connection problems. You can have a bad connection as long as you're not racing somebody. You want to ride around at the back, you want to be out of the way, that's totally fine. The second that you are blinking like crazy and start racing people, they will park you, and they've been consistent about it all year. And I'm curious if David Cordy, and I look to see who else is up in race control tonight, if Pierre is here as well. But I'm curious, as JP's coming to pit road, if he was maybe warned, like, hey, you're going to have to let these guys go and either deal with running around in 13th or be parked and finish in, 17th, 18th. So we'll see.
We're talking about fuel, maybe he decides, get out of that, run by himself a little bit.
Right, yeah. If he thinks that he's in the window of where he's going to hit, go run some single laps.
He's out of the car.
See if you can separate yourself. Is he out?
He's out of the car. Car is down for service. Don't see the driver returning to that vehicle just yet.
We're trying to do a quick fix on the connection. We'll keep you updated as we continue to watch Chad Dalton and Mark Cohn and Dean Mall and JP Winchittle. Cars blinking on pit road now as well. I think JP's race might have just come to an end.
And that's unfortunate.
Very unfortunate.
Good run so far from that driver. Just trying to build something positive. I feel like every time we've just had a hard luck moment, I feel like the 56 machine is a part of it.
The stack up here now is for 8th on back as Ryan Corns inherited 7th when JP came to pit road. Chad Dalton is 8th, then Mark Cohn, Dean Mall, David Clymer, and Travis Jägerlener is just kind of hanging on to the back of that pack right now.
Yeah, I mean, we keep focusing on it, but this is the best action that we're seeing in
That's
this
what
race.
I was just clicking through.
I mean, because Sage has lapped Finian in 15th with JP, James Paulson, Tyson Landis, Cody Eldred, Dustin Wardlow, Scott Holmes, all off the track. I got a note from Chris Reagan, who was scheduled to start back, had some connection issues / computer issues that prevented him from making the start.
Boy, how bad was JP's connection tonight, Yaz? He didn't even disconnect from the race. He received throughput on pit road after he had essentially retired, and he has just reconnected. And I saw him commenting in the Lionheart Discord about his connection issues as well. Certainly, he's welcome to rejoin the field here and try to make up any spots if cars were to drop out. But tough end to his night as Chad Dalton and Mark Cohn, boy. Little crossover down there in Andretti. Cohn made a move. Dalton crossed him up. Cohn's going to stay there and got chopped and almost got run over by Mardi Gras.
Mardi Gras all over the rear wing of Cohn.
David Clymer now is within striking distance of Dean Mall as well. Sage is in. All the leaders are in. Well, except for Alex Saunders. Fool me.
Well, it's lap
Sage,
25.
Otis, Sandman.
That's not making it.
That's not making it. Alex Saunders is on 26, coming to 27.
Yeah.
And if you factor in the pace lap, boy, wouldn't it be something if Alex Saunders stole this race on fuel mileage after spinning on his own?
You know, who knows? Maybe that slowdown. I mean, I know just getting through the gears is not necessarily what you want. And that's actually what happened to, I think that was Sage at Road America. The fuel mileage was good, except it didn't account for him to get back up through the gears.
Right.
And that's why he ran out around 14 there. Taking a look here at Mark Cohn. Sweeping camera angles.
But Mark Cohn went the wrong direction on that last lap. I'm intently watching Alex Saunders here. Whoa, that's a nice save by Mark Cohn. It's a great save, and Alex Saunders is in.
He's in
and
now.
Alex Saunders ran a hard lap. Like I was waiting for him to maybe be, clutching it, coming down the hill, do something. He ran a hard lap and made it with a spin, by the way, and that spin's going to hurt you on fuel. Now you're going to see, here comes Sage is blowing by him right now. Saunders will lead that lap. No, wait, maybe he won't.
No.
I think he didn't get there. Oh, ouch. He did not get there.
I mean, that's 30 laps to go. I mean, that's hoofing it.
Yeah. It's one thing to make it 27 with a pace lap. I don't think he's making it 20. Let's bet 29 now on the backside.
Talked about it before. I believe Aaron Morgan, the Carolina driver, I believe he hasn't pitted.
Aaron Morgan made 2 more laps than anybody else.
I mean, there was another place that he was real sneaky at. I know there was Imola, where there was the fuel mileage kind of jumbled up the running order there.
And he's in the window right now, by the way.
Yep.
Where he would win this race if he made it a one-stopper. He's 14 seconds back of Sage.
I don't know.
Pit delta 30. Now, the problem is that he's got to maintain the same pace, which means theoretically he would probably get passed by Sage with about 2 laps to go. But but I'm all for something to watch.
Ooh. He passes by pit road entry once again.
All right, now I'm confused.
You got that smoky unit gas line, I think.
I'm just wondering now, because he's made the number now. David Clymer just came to pit road, so some of these cars that have been back there running 115s instead of 113s, they got an extra lap out of it. And Aaron Morgan just announced that he's pitting this lap. Thank you, Captain Obvious. Look, if he made it another lap after this one, I was just going to go ahead and hand him the race. David Clymer on pit road. There's another car on pit road there as well, and that is the 44 of Travis Jägerlener. 35 is in as well.
I don't know if it's necessarily a winning spot, but does make it could be a very interesting position grab at the end of it. And Morgan could be in a spot. I mean, yeah, the delta's there, but
I say worst case, he's battling Sandman and Otis for a podium.
Yeah, and then just record.
Yeah. Well,
how bad do you want it, Aaron? How bad do you want it?
Hey, he's rocking the Jimmy Johnson 48 the day after 7-time announced that he was calling it quits after next year. So
yeah, that's another sign that I'm getting older in life.
Right.
All the kids out there racing are younger than me, and all the guys I grew up with aren't around anymore.
I got a 1-year-old who's not going to see Jimmy Johnson drive a NASCAR and remember it, and I'm thinking to myself, wow, I'm old. Is Mardi Gras in as well? Did Mardi Gras ran an extra lap as well and we missed that? He did.
So, yeah,
Wow.
looking at the run count.
Well, now the problem is Mardi Gras, Aaron Morgan is already down the hill towards the hairpin. Oh, boy, Aaron Morgan.
What
that's
did
going
those
be
cones do to
interesting.
you?
Boy, Aaron Morgan is taking a couple cones for a ride, and I wonder if that's going to get him penalized as well.
I mean, that
For
pit,
all the
that
great
pit
stuff
exit.
Aaron Morgan was doing, he might have just tossed it away right there. It's interesting if I'm seeing this right, on our GSRC broadcast, it's not showing the cones.
Nope. Or nice.
But in iRacing, he literally just lost them.
Yeah. Huh. It's all clear on my screen from what I can see.
Well, let's see. I guess we're going to find out real quick if he got a penalty or not.
Yeah, I'm hearing nothing over any of the channels.
I'm not sure that would be a race control issued penalty. I think iRacing would issue the penalty there.
Oh, that's right.
For dropping a wheel. And at that point, race control wouldn't chime in. Let's see. They stayed out.
Yeah, must have got that. Just
watch it one more time. He hasn't asked for admin for a clearance or anything.
Yeah.
So
wait,
if he had a black flag, he's coming in.
I got it, Jason. It was net code to the cones.
Net code to the cones. That's an interesting one.
That's what I'm guessing. That's my guess right there.
Yeah. Well, net code was great last night.
Now you know why I bring that up.
I do. Battle for second here. Sandman, Otis, in a lap car. Ryan Otis trying to work his way onto the podium. That's Finian. They just put a lap down.
It's not the name of the new hit sitcom coming to GSRC this fall.
What's that? Otis, Sandman in a lap car?
Yeah.
Could be.
Instead of a guy, a girl, in a pizza place or something. What was that show back in the... okay, anyways.
Two and a half men.
Yeah.
Two and a half lead lap cars.
That might be what's left at the end of this one with the pace that Sage has.
Oh, well, yeah, Sage has hit the turbocharger here. Now here, I almost wonder if Sage might be looking down at Aaron Morgan thinking to himself, I need to put some space on him, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I've opened up a big enough gap back to Sandman and Otis that I need to gap Aaron Morgan. And as it sits right now, Aaron Morgan is 45 seconds back of Sage.
That's real close.
It's not close enough is the problem.
But if you look that gap up the road, I mean, Morgan could be on pace for a podium potentially.
Put him right there for maybe a podium. Definitely into the top 5. He's 6th right now. In fact, he's almost into the top 5. But a lot of that has to do with the pit strategy so far. Working lap 32 here in this one. And while we have a second here now that pit stops have kind of calmed down and everybody's thinned out a little bit, I want to thank our good friends at Butt Kicker for all they've done for us this year in the Lionheart Retro Series. Butt Kicker products add instant immersion to any game. Unlike a subwoofer that moves air and loses accuracy and force, Butt Kicker provides products actually move mass, produces a haptic immersion. It is powerful. It is accurate. Butt Kicker products add the missing driver-to-car connection, bring more realism and immersion to your sim racing sessions. You can see the whole family of products at thebuttkicker.com. Use the promo code LION25 and you'll get 25% off of your order. So on board with the Butt Kicker cam on Ryan Otis's car. So many great sponsors here in the Lionheart series this year. The last couple years, really, it's blown up, I think, to bigger than anything that most of us here at the Lionheart Racing Series could have ever hoped for. From my time in the past on the admin team, see how hard George Anzaldo and his team of admins continue to work to make this league what it is, and it's the premier private league on iRacing, I think. There's no question about that. It's especially when it comes to open wheel racing. The IndyCar Retro Series, I know they got some things in the works next year that could be fun as well. And between the broadcast here on the iRacing Esports Network and the partnership over the years with Global Sim Racing Channel and GSRC and several sponsors, and we're 10 plus sponsors deep every year of companies that care, and conversely, the members and you, the fans who tune into these races, seem to reciprocate and send your money with those sponsors, and that certainly is appreciated as well. On board here with Chad Dalton. Chad running around in the 8th spot. Pardon me, this is David Clymer we're on board with. He's chasing Chad Dalton. Clymer in 9th, Dalton in 8th as they head down the hill.
Also, another thing too, Butt Kicker does, they're selling some Thrustmaster products out there. So check it out with their website with the Black Friday, Cyber Monday weekend looming. You never know what might pop up there.
Yeah, I got to open another credit card. This could be the year that we complete the rig, you know?
Yeah, it could be.
Sage Karam is about to lap Mark Cohn, who, the pit cycles were not favorable to Mark. He had that little slide, and then he had the pit stop, and Mark is back there in the 12th spot after running up as high as 6th or 7th at one point. Sage Karam now will set his sights on Travis Jaegerleiner, and then there will only be 10 cars on the lead lap. And believe you me when I say Sage is going to get there, and he's going to get there sooner than later.
He could very potentially lap up to Lionel. Potentially.
Yeah, the way things are going, you know, that pit stop, the pit strategy for Mardi Gras and Aaron Morgan, I'm going to guess will save them, would drop Lionel down to 7th. We might be in a spot where 6 cars finish on the lead lap. The pace Sage Karam continues to carry. Last time around, he ran a 1:14.48. His best lap of the race was a 1:13.501, which is unconscious around here. I mean, that's only 6 seconds off of the real-life track record, and that was Helio Castroneves in a modern-day IndyCar with computer systems and downforce.
Downforce, you know, that big one.
Downforce is a crucial part, something that the L79 struggles with. Ground effects are there.
Yeah.
The air effects are not.
The battle on screen shaping up between Sandman and Otis for the runner-up position. Right now, Sandman
Sage
has it.
Boy, did he make contact? That was so close. Sage and Travis Jaegerleiner coming down the hill out of the rainy curve, and man,
close. I'm noticing some wing damage on the front of that 3 machine.
That was there already. That was close. I don't think he got him.
No, just
this race ends. Sage gonna have to make a trip down to Smart and Final and check out the laundry detergent aisle. I think that moment right there. Is Smart and Final a thing in the rest of the country? I guess I should have thought about that.
No idea what you're talking about.
No idea.
I just figured that was some kind of California thing.
Well, it's a supermarket. I mean, it's my probably like. Why do supermarkets have to be different everywhere? You know.
I don't know. That's what Walmart tried to do, and everybody got angry at them.
We got Vons in California, and you go to Arizona where I went to college, and it's Fry's. It's the same store, same logo. They just, instead of being Vons, they're like, let's call it Fry's, and it's like.
I've heard regional things like it's the Carl Hardee's or Carl Jr. versus Hardee's. Like the logos are exactly the same, but depending on where you're at.
Wouldn't it be something if the person who founded Carl's Jr. and Hardee's was named Carl Hardy?
That would be kind of interesting. Yeah.
Sage Karam putting another car lap down. Is that Clymer? It is. So
yes, sir.
Sage is now lapped into the top 10. Dean Mall right in front of him. Then Chad Dalton. Then Ryan Corns. Let's continuing to watch the battle for second. Otis Sandman.
Otis just on the binders and braking. It's really impressive to watch.
George Sandman, don't discount him when you look at the point standings and think to yourself, why isn't he better than 19th? And it's frankly because he's just missed too many races. He's missing 3 races plus the drops. But George Sandman started 10 races and has 5 top 5s and a win this year.
Pretty good stat line.
It's a pretty good average from where I'm shaping up. Of course, it's not as good as Alex Saunders, who's got 2 wins and 4 top 5s and 7 starts.
Well, there's always that one kid in class that'll show you up.
Well, there's Sage, who has 4 wins and 6 top 5s.
That's the kid that shows up and beats you up for your lunch money.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. George Sandman is the kid who's like, I got into Cal. And Alex Saunders is the kid who's like, I'm going to MIT. And Sage Karam's the kid who's like, I didn't go to college. I'm just going to run NASA.
Lead engineer somehow on the spaceship. I mean, in terms of outer space, he is gone.
That's a fact.
Just lapped Maul that last time. We're going to be setting his sights on Dalton and Corns next.
But Ryan Otis keeps getting real close to George Sandman down into Andretti, and then Sandman here as they go up the hill. It's almost like you could split this track in half. You go up the hill, and it's all Sandman. You come down the hill, it's all Otis. And they're closing in on some lap traffic here. Mark Cohn is right in front of both of them.
I don't think Mark's going to be in the way of those drivers at all.
I bet George would have appreciated if he moved there, though. It's all over the back of Cone, and this is a dangerous spot to be lapping cars. Mark does the right thing. That's going to hurt Otis, though. Yeah, Mark did the right thing, but Otis just caught him at a bad spot.
Yep. Just unfortunate through there, but and it looks like Cone is bringing it to pit road behind that as well. So it does break up that battle a little bit. Give it to Sandman.
Alex Saunders, meanwhile, quietly has been chunking off time to both Sandman and Otis. That last time by, He was 7/10 quicker than Sandman. He was a second plus quicker than Otis, but Otis had that little holdup. In fact, Alex Saunders 4/10 quicker than any car on the racetrack last time around, 1:14.0.
Driving through the red mist perfectly, I believe, is the driver of that 13 machine right now.
Self-inflicted red mist, unfortunately. You never want to have an issue, but if you do, you never want it to be your own.
Very true. Looking around on the track map, Corns has been lapped, so Sage, he's at the line right now, and his next target being Aaron Morgan just went into turn 4, I believe. A little bit of a gap there, just from point of reference.
I don't think Sage is going to get to Morgan. The other thing is Morgan's going to one-stop it.
That's right. That's going to mess that up.
We can categorically, I think, commit to the fact now that Aaron Morgan is not going to win this race on the pit strategy. Not when he's about to be lapped.
Yeah, it tends to not work.
You don't lose that much time on pit road here. I know that. For 8th, this is now happening a lap down. It's Dalton and Mardi Gras as they come up the hill. Ryan Corn's just in front of both. Sage Karam working lap 40. Look over to 41 as they come across the line here, and there will be 16 laps left as Ryan Corns.
Corns had a mistake, shot real wide going into turn 10. That's
real wide.
Yeah.
Well, he caught the bump on the inside.
Like there's Harry Gans, high, wide, and handsome, and then there was that. It's cost himself 3 spots in all of that.
Ryan was just inspecting the tire barrier. He wanted to make sure that they were properly fastened.
Ryan Corn
needed a closer
FIA
look.
Agent.
Needed a closer look.
Yeah.
Sandman and Otis have negotiated their way around Jägerländer, by the way, and now Corns is actually the next car that those two will get to. Ryan Otis has closed the gap back up to Sandman. In fact, last time around, Ryan Otis' fastest car on the track at a 1:14.055, and Alex Saunders creeped a little bit closer to Sandman, although he's got to chunk off a bigger gap than a tenth of a second a lap, I'll tell you that.
It does help a little bit.
And again, you can totally visually see this. Up the hill, Sandman, down the hill, Otis. The gap is opened up, and then they come through here, and it's like, Otis to pit road. Ryan Otis wants to vary the pit strategy here.
Yeah, he's going to go for the undercut there. Instead of run in that wake of Sandman, get out, and hopefully, I mean, he should find himself in some very clean air right now.
And you got to think here with lap cars, that's a smart strategy because Sandman is right behind Corns, and then he's got Clymer, and then right in front of them is Dalton and Mall, and that's potentially a battle to get into the top 5, depending on how pit strategy works out. So I love this move by Ryan Otis.
He might get caught behind these slower cars right here. I think that is Finian and Jenkins. The inside pit access here.
I think
he's going to come out behind him, but
he's going to be gapped enough to where he's not going to hit them in a corner here.
No, but he's going to be in the same. I mean, he's pretty much the same gap that he was to Sandman.
The difference is that Paul Jenkins' last lap was a 1:16.99. Otis should be able to get around both of them here fairly quickly. Let's see if we can, Omjet, if we can stay with this here and see how long it takes Otis to get around these two, because that will really determine how well this strategy pays off.
Looks like
he's going to get one of them here as Finian moves over. And now he's going to get into the corkscrew, and that's where the faster cars really seem to make up time, is who has the biggest set of
attachments,
trailer hitch covers.
Yeah.
Down into the final corner. Otis really closes the gap, and if he can get the power down here and get around Jenkins on the front straight, then I think this is going to work out.
Should be able to get to where he needs to be right here.
Got to run. He's going to get there. Jenkins. Well, I hope he's going to let him go.
Respectable.
For a second.
I'm not going to roll all the way over for you, but you got to earn it a little bit.
For sure. Ryan Otis gets clear. And see, now Otis is gapped. The next car in front of Otis is Travis Jägerländer, and he's coming up the hill to the corkscrew already. So Otis with about 20 seconds of clear space in front of him.
I think this was the gap that he was aiming for when he made his stop. Is there you see, Sandman stuck behind Clymer right now. Is Sandman going to make the dive to pit road, or is he going to try and get out? Nice to go around him. Now, the other thing to be watching here, let's pay attention to the lap times and see what that difference is from a split standpoint. Saunders running around that lap car. Sandman, sorry. That was a 1:15 flat, and I'll be curious to see what Otis rips off here. That he's finally clear.
Sandman went 1:15.0. Alex Saunders went 1:14.2. And Ryan Otis comes across 1:14.69. So right now, Ryan Otis in one lap managed to cut the deficit theoretically in half.
Well, I think that's the gap right there. He was 4/10 or so behind Sandman before that pit stop. Now he just ran 4/10 faster. So that, if we had the Formula One style graphics and they'd show that overtake probability, I think right now we're probably at a solid 70% chance of an overtake. Because now here comes Sandman again, up behind Mardi Gras Mall. That shouldn't affect this lap that bad, but I fear that the damage has been done. Because now that last time, Sandman,
1:13.9.
That was a spicy jalapeno. Okay. So now we got to see how Otis responds, and maybe that gap is kind of opened itself back up. I mean, you and I both know these Lotus 79s are absolute rocket ships on low fuel, probably like Sandman is right now.
Sage went a 1:13.8, Sandman a 1:13.9, Saunders a 1:14.3, and Ryan Otis clicks it at a 1:14.1. So George Sandman makes up the time he had just lost on the previous lap. You wonder how much of that was he caught Dean Mall in a spot where the draft helped him, you know?
It could have been, but some of those guys up there running around at that speed. We are coming up towards the bottom end of this race. As you see on the screen, lap 45 of 56 complete, 11 to go this time by as Sage Karam goes ripping across the start-finish line.
Up the hill comes Sandman again. This time he's got a little bit of a tow from Chad Dalton and George Sandman, 1:14.36. So he slows. Now let's see what his counterparts do. Alex Saunders, 1:14.34.
Now let's look
in
at
the
the
same
95
ballpark.
machine.
A lot of time for Otis here still as he's just now coming through turn 11. Down the front straightaway in the pit curve.
14 flat.
So Otis makes the time back up. It's like this give and take game that we keep watching between George Sandman and Ryan Otis. Sandman around Dean Mall and Chad Dalton now.
Yeah, so now that should be the driver of that 06 machine should finally be fully clear.
Yeah, the next car on track is the leader, which is Sage Karam, and he just came onto the pit straight.
So what you're saying is no pressure.
No pressure at all.
This is where, this is where you get around. The spotter goes, all right, clear by infinity.
And now the difference is going to be Sandman has open track and light fuel, and Otis already pit, so Otis is going to be carrying a little extra fuel. But boy, did that lap hurt Sandman. 1:14.69 for George Sandman. That is
Not
0.7 of a second slower than Sage. Alex Saunders actually quickest car on the track so far, 1:13.85. And let's keep an eye on Otis now.
Coming around turn
the final
11
corner.
up the front stretch.
Ryan Otis trips the clock.
Ooh,
1:14.68.
68.
He made a mistake somewhere.
But
All
still
by
a little bit
himself.
faster. Still a little faster than Sandman. Saunders, I feel Saunders is going to be the fly in the ointment of that battle between Sanders and Otis, or Sandman and Otis. Saunders is ripping off consistent fast lap times. Fastest car on track last time at a 13.85. So he's starting to bridge that gap just a little bit, and he could be up there racing for a podium as well.
And Otis, I'm looking at his lap delta here, and again, it looks like Ryan Otis is maybe having some struggles early on this lap. Sandman wide in the final corner. Boy, the mistakes just keep clicking.
Take you back a battle for seventh
behind them. George Sandman ran a 1:14.89 on that last lap with nobody around. As Dean Mall is trying to make a move on Chad Dalton, and this is just behind Sandman. There you see Sandman, the HPP car, pulling away. And Alex Saunders went 1:13.62, his quickest lap of the race, the second quickest lap of the race. Ryan Otis goes 1:14.31 on heavier fuel, chops a half second off of Sandman. Alex Saunders picked up a 2 2/10. And all of a sudden, Alex Saunders is right behind that battle for 7th between Mall and Dalton. And now if you're Sandman, you start thinking to yourself, at one point, does George Sandman hit pit road?
I mean, trying to run that out probably as far as he can, try to shorten that stop as much as possible, fuel only. I mean,
this lap.
No, Otis had a 5-second pit stop, and I feel like probably about as fast as it's going to be. Oh,
Dean Mall got a run here on Dalton.
Not what Saunders wanted to see.
In front of Saunders, right. Saunders clicks off a 1:14.4, stuck behind these two. Mardi Gras and Dalton. Mardi Gras is going to clear him, and Saunders poked his nose in there as well, and Chad Dalton didn't have much of a choice. So now the question is, how quickly can Alex Saunders
Mardi
get
Gras,
around?
hang on to it.
Don't do that, Mardi Gras. Wowzers.
It worked out nice for Saunders. Didn't work out so nice for Malls. Now he's going to be back under attack from Dalton. No blinking from anybody out front. Everybody's pretty much sticking to their fuel strategy. Should be coming up on that window, though, here where Sage Karam, Sandman are going to be right at the end of their rows. I mean, 25 laps this time on a tank of fuel for our leaders.
Karam stays out. In fact, Karam ran a 1:13.55. That is the second quickest lap of this entire race. He ran a 50 earlier. Sandman on pit road. George Sandman pits. And so now we wait and watch. Alex Saunders will cycle to second for now. And the question is, where is Ryan Otis? He's coming down the hill through Rainey into turn 10. To pit entry into 11 is Ryan Otis. You're on board with the graphics car. Sandman is not away from his stall yet.
Rolling
He's
now.
just rolled. And here comes Otis up the hill. This is going to be mighty close. Sandman, it's going to be all about how he gets out of pit exit here. Look at this battle. Into Andretti. They're side by side, but on the pit road. And Sandman's going to hang on. Can you believe it?
Whoa. Just some good laps. Trying to get to the end of that one, taking as little fuel as possible. But
And
now
Sandman,
he's going to be back under attack from Otis.
Sandman was in his stall a second longer than Otis. Had a second longer on the Delta, and somewhere Ryan Otis couldn't make that up. But Otis now, as you mentioned, Yaz, with the momentum all over Sandman.
Keep our eyes on this battle, which is eventually going to, potentially for the second spot. What I'm going to be curious of is the overcut that you might see from Saunders. Saunders still on the track right now, currently P2, running very fast lap time. I mean,
Alex Saunders to the lead, actually. Sage is on pit road. Sage is off pit road. So your leader has pit. Alex Saunders inherits the lead for the time being and did get credit, I believe, with leading that last lap.
Nope.
No, he did not. Never mind. Sage's stall is just past the line, and everybody else's is just before it. Yeah. And it hurt Saunders earlier. Sage Karam goes around Chad Dalton. Little Train on pit road from 5th. Aaron Morgan will pass him. Remember, Aaron Morgan on the one-stop strategy. And is still
I'm going to take a top 5.
49 seconds behind Sage on a one-stop strategy.
Saunders is going to finally lead a lap.
Yes, he does. Will not be a clean sweep for Sage Karam.
13:66.
Wow.
Goodness.
And so now we really wonder, Otis and Sandman. And by the way, Sandman has opened up Ryan Otis this lap. As they come across. 1:14.43 for Sandman.
Jump up.
Sage Karam's off track.
Oh,
Sage
no.
Karam spun. Oh, boy, here's another look at it. All by himself, and did he catch the tires? Same corner Dustin Wardlow spun in.
Tried hanging on to it.
Almost saved it.
Didn't hit anything.
Well, boy, he came close just trying to loop it around. He almost hit the tires. He actually got closer on the loop around than he did spinning. Another look. This should be wild. Hang on to it, 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 hang on. Stay.
Saunders also on to pit road in all of that commotion. He might. I think Saunders is going to play a role in this battle for the podium.
Second place.
I mean,
Saunders is out.
He's out ahead of Otis and Sandman.
Yeah, by plenty. Alex Saunders jumps Ryan Otis and George Sandman.
Well, and the other thing of note, that mistake from Sage pretty much erased his gap. We know Saunders just took enough fuel to get to the end of this thing, and that car is fast. He has been faster than Sage, probably the second part of the race. I mean, one more mistake from Sage.
Yeah, it'll take one more still, no doubt on that. Battle for third. Otis got to run. And he's going to clear Sandman. Where did that come from? Ryan Otis into turn 6.
It's not over yet.
First spot. Sandman trying to battle back.
Just
Into the carousel.
Taking the defensive line. Oh, and contact, and around they go. And that's not what he intended at all. And you see Sandman stop on track going, no, that's yours.
Man. Well, it was almost, I hate to say the words, it's almost net Cody. Let's take another look. That's close.
That is.
I think they're both going to get away with that. Any chance of a second place is definitely gone, though. Boy, just when you thought this race was kind of decided.
Nothing like a little contact to jumble that all up.
I give props to Sandman, because you're absolutely right, Yaz. He could have kept going and put away the podium, and he stopped on track and let Otis have the spot. I don't know if that's going to save him from an avoidable contact from the admins or not. I don't know if they're even going to call that an avoidable. Yeah. There could have been a net code.
Yep.
But we'll see. I'm not willing to make that call one way or the other. That's why I'm the one with the mic you can hear. The ones who talk in the private channel, that's a little more difficult. 2 laps to go for Sage Karam. Aaron Morgan, if he can make it work, he is going to get a top 5. Mardi Gras, by the way, is only a second back of Lionel right now. That's another car trying to make it on one stop. So we'll have that to keep an eye on once this race officially completes as well.
And that contact causing some damage, it looks like, on the front end of Sandman, because now he cannot hang with Otis at all.
It was pretty heavy contact for Sandman. Just the way these cars work. Sage Karam already coming down the hill towards 10. Into 11. White flag is out. 2.2 miles left for Sage Karam. Trying to lock up his 5th win of the season. Nobody else has more than 2 in the Lionheart Retro Series. And we'll keep you on board here. And watch the master go to work.
Clymer with a pit stop couldn't quite make that work. Second in points as well.
David Clymer is going to fall all the way back. Mark Cohn just got around Travis Jagerlander back into the top 10 as well. Through the corkscrew for the final time. Well, he certainly wasn't perfect. Not by his standards. But he was plenty good enough. Sage Karam wins the Graphics Grand Prix of Laguna Seca. Win number 5 in the 2019 season for Karam. Alex Saunders comes across second. Ryan Otis up the hill and will finish third. And with that podium, Ryan Otis can pretty much pop the champagne on a championship. Battle for 10th.
Battle for the final spot.
Cone and Jagerliner. It's going to be a drag race.
Jagerliner sent it in from far back. He's got Finian trying to help. But give that one to Cone. Wow, that got exciting at the end of that one.
Mark Cone sneaks the top 10. And here's Aaron Morgan coming across in 5th place. And he makes the one-stopper work. Aaron Morgan and Mardi Gras Mall, the only 2 cars that are going to make this race on one stop. And Mardi Gras will be the last car to come across the line. And he's doing so right now.
I believe that's the final car to pass the line.
7 cars finish on the lead lap, and Sage Karam takes home the win. We'll take a break and come back and hear from our winner on our podium. You're watching the Lionheart Retro Series presented by Butt Kicker here on the iRacing Esports Network.
The Sim Pit is an entertainment channel dedicated to the world of simulated motorsports. The Sim Pit is a leader in providing the sim racing community with news, reviews, interviews, DIY pieces, and instructional videos to make sim racing a better experience for all. Check us out at thesimpit.com or go to YouTube and just search for The Sim Pit.
Welcome back. The Graphics Grand Prix of Laguna Seca is in the books. And it belongs to Sage Karam. You are watching the Plasma Tracks post-race show here on the iRacing Esports Network. Plasma-tracks.com. Proud sponsor of the Victory Lane post-race show. And don't forget, if you go to that website, use the promo code LRS2019 for 25% off of your order. Black Friday is coming up. If you're struggling to find something for the person who has everything, head to plasma-tracks.com for original racetrack wall art, motorsports trophies, home decor, motorsports fabrication, and much, much more. When you see these things in person, you understand You'll think to yourself, man, why in the world have I waited so long to get me some plasma tracks? Let's take a look at the final finishing results of this one here. And a great race once again. The Sim Pit race results for Sage Karam, his 5th win of the season here. The Lionheart Retro Series presented by Butt Kicker. He wins it by 6.5 seconds over Alex Saunders. Of course, he was out much more than that for most of the race and had that late race spin. Ryan Otis hangs on to the final podium spot after that contact with George Sandman with a few laps to go. And Aaron Morgan one-stops his way to a top 5 finish. Little Train, Lionel Callisto comes home 6th. Mardi Gras Mall also on the one-stop strategy, the final car on the lead lap. Chad Dalton, David Clymer, and Mark Cohn on the last lap sneaks into the top 10.
In the 11th spot, give that to Travis Yeager-Liner with Finian Ducana in the 12th spot. 13th to Ryan Corns with Paul Jenkins and Frank Bieser in 14th and 15th, respectively. Unfortunate events for JP Winchittle. Had a solid qualifying effort, had some speed, had the connection to not match all of the above, having to park that car, finishing 16th with Paulson in 17th, Tyson Landis in 18th with Cody Eldred 19th, Dustin Wardlow unfortunately finishing in 20th, and then the back half of that 21st to Scott Holmes, 22nd to Richie Hearn, and 23rd to Chris Reagan. Both of those drivers did not start the event, so it would explain them being at the backside of the standings there.
Let's hear from our race winner. And what a race it was, once again, for Sage Karam. 5th win of the season here, Sage. That one seemed like it was all cruise control until the last few laps, and then you had that little off-track excursion there. How worried were you when the car started doing the tank slapper that might end your night?
Yeah, I mean, this track's so tricky. It's just one of those tracks where you just have to like really be in a rhythm. And you know, any disruption of that rhythm this place can really bite you really quickly. So that's why I kind of didn't even try and save fuel for this one. I knew I could try and save fuel and maybe you know, overall help my chances of winning this thing, but I just decided to just go for it because I knew once you start saving fuel, you start, you know, breaking your current rhythms and everything, and that's kind of what happened at the end there. I was just kind of in a good rhythm, and then I was lapping cars, and then Alex was in front of me, and I was just pushing really, really hard at that point, trying to just catch him because I didn't know what kind of strategy he was running. But yeah, between, you know, cars in front of me and running, you know, qualifying laps to try and catch him. Yeah, I just had a little bit of understeer coming off, dropped a wheel and hooked it. So it happens, but you know, I definitely was not a clean race on my end. I just too many off tracks and that spin. So, you know, I won, you know, I'm happy about that, but you know, I want to do it cleaner next time.
What's the secret around this place? Brian and I were talking about it, and you know, the corkscrew is obviously one spot where you can definitely tell the men and the boys are separated. But what's the key to being fast around WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca?
I think it's just getting away with all the track you can possibly use successfully, and you know, this place, it kind of rewards start turning in a little bit early. And getting up onto that curbing, but obviously you want to use all of that curb without touching the big red sausage curb on the inside. If you touch that, usually you get chucked off into the dirt. So you know, the very, very fast guys around here will basically put it within, you know, a millimeter of that red curb, and yeah, that's how you're going to be able to go fast. And I think probably, you know, looking at the relatives when I was looking at those guys behind me, you know, I seem to kind of be pretty even with everybody from start finish all the way up through the corkscrew, and then we go through the corkscrew, and then that next like downhill left-hander and right-hander, it seemed that's where I kind of had like 2/10 on everybody. So you know, those are just confidence turns and just getting it all the way down to the apex, and you know, trusting that the car is going to hold on the exit as well. And you know, that's going to be a cool, you know, kind of thing like at Mosport. You know, that places all those types of corners as well. So you know, that's probably my favorite track in the world. So I can't wait to get there.
Well, I'm sure everybody's thrilled to hear that you've come off dominating the last 2 road courses, and now we're going to your favorite track.
Yeah, I've had some success in real life there. I've won some Formula races and got my first IMSA pole, set the IMSA track record there. So it's definitely a cool one. I can't wait.
Well, we look forward to seeing it. Got a couple weeks. Congratulations, another dominating performance tonight. Happy Thanksgiving to you and the family.
Yeah, you guys too. Thank you.
Sage Karam, winner tonight. He led all but 2 laps, I believe, in that one. Another spectacular performance. Speaking of spectacular, Brian, this man had to do a lot of work tonight.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking to the guy that led the other 2 laps. Alex Saunders, second step on the podium tonight for that number 13 Purple People Eater machine. Nighthawk Racing. I know. I just want to say Purple People Eater. You had the mistake early, and then it seemed like you really hunkered down and just were ripping off some extremely fast and extremely consistent lap times. I mean, walk us through your night, Alex.
They were consistent, huh? They felt miserable. I gotta tell you. I think I went off about 7 times. I hit the red curbs about 3 times. I don't understand how I got second back, because I was pretty far behind Ryan and George, and even the pit stops. I didn't think I had a chance, so I was really just I was driving angry.
Remember that whole consistency thing Brian just said?
Yeah.
But believe it or not.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it worked out, but man, really, really rough, really frustrating race. Right from the beginning. I hate starting outside pole, and going into the Andretti hairpin here, I was trying to hang along the outside of George and couldn't quite do it, and that just kind of set the tone. There's red mist from lap 1, so that was interesting. Yeah.
Oh boy. I mean, I always tell the boys, I'm worth 2/10 pissed off, and you apparently worth half a second. So that was some pretty good driving there. I mean, the kind of, you did the overcut really on Otis and Sandman for second. We were so focused on them and their fight, and all of a sudden we looked up, and that's when you were ripping off those mid to high 13s, and really kind of eliminated the gap between you and Otis and Sandman there for that second step of the podium.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it was surprising, because last race out at Sonoma, I was in kind of the same boat where I was behind them both, and I ended up doing the exact opposite thing, and I turned my the first stop. I only took enough fuel to cut the race in half, and that worked and got me to second. And tonight I just took a full tank at the stop and just did a splash at the end, and that worked and got me to second. So I don't know what's going on.
Well, unfortunately, Alex, I have some bad news for you. We go to Mo Sport next, and we were just talking to Sage, and he said that's his favorite track. So
yeah, that's fair. I mean,
don't mean to bring you down there, but
he essentially beat us with one arm tied behind his back tonight because of the elbow stuff he's got going on.
Right, I forgot we should have even mentioned that to him.
Yeah, so I
forgot about that too.
He'll be back at full strength. He'll have 2 working arms and a good track. We'll do what we can. I love Mo Sport. I don't know that I'm particularly good at it compared to some other places, but it is a really fun track. So, I'm looking forward to it, and we'll do what we can and try and put up a fight here.
There you go. Anybody you want to give a shout out to before we send you on your way?
Yeah, I'll give a shout out to Greg, my teammate, showed up to spot me at the end while I was particularly pissed off. So he's he did a great job putting up with me, and he's waiting patiently for me to play Rocket League to calm down. So yeah, I think that's it. Good job,
right.
Good job, you guys, and great racing, everybody. So.
Sounds good. Well, we'll catch you on down the road up at Mo Sport there, Alex, and have yourself a happy Thanksgiving, bud.
Sounds good. You too. Thanks, guys.
All right. So that's Alex Saunders. Now let's bring in Otis. Jason, you got him pulled up.
I just love how Alex Saunders was like, great job to you guys. He hasn't even had a chance to go back and watch this and be like, listen to these 2 hacks. I appreciate it though.
Yeah,
hey, boy, speaking of somebody, you thought Alex Saunders had red mist at the end of the race. Ryan Otis, that was a great race. It was really fun to watch. I don't know how, and knowing you were probably pretty in tune with it, but how in tune you were with the different strategies that were playing out. Aaron Morgan stopped it. You had Saunders trying to make up the difference. I know that you pit early to try to undercut Sandman there. And then after all of that stuff that we watched, what happened in the corkscrew?
Well, he got I don't know what he did. Did he get in the dirt or got a little sideways turning up the hill? And so I ended up just getting past him in the kink, approaching the corkscrew, and then he was right there, and my spotter set outside, and so I left some room to my right when I went to turn down, but my angle was so acute that I think my apex speed was just a lot lower than he thought, and I think he just ran into the back of me when he turned in. But he was a total gentleman. He just stopped and waited. So I gave him a thumbs up for that. That happens. I've made that same mistake before, so I can't really fault the guy.
And no harm, no foul. In your case, you still come home in third. I think that's where you were going to end up anyways. Somehow Alex Saunders, and he was just talking about it, he couldn't figure out how somehow he managed to just absolutely demolish the gap to you and Sandman and then get around you guys there. So I think that third, it was going to be third and fourth for you two either way. And really interesting race, I think, for Brian and I to call, because aside from Sage stinking the show up out front, which is starting to become kind of the usual for him when he runs on road courses, but you and Saunders and Sandman were all on totally different kind of strategies, and they all converged at the end for the last 5 laps. How aware are you of what's going on with those other drivers that are around you when you're out there running laps?
Well, all I was really trying to do, I was really kind of focused on what Sandman's strategy was going to be, because all I really wanted to do was jump him in a pit stop, because I knew in clean air that was probably about 0.2 faster than him, on average. But once you get up behind somebody here, it's just impossible to pass unless they make a mistake. So I knew that was really going to be my only shot. And, I was kind of parked behind him in the middle of the race. And, I'd make a little mistake here or there, and then I'd catch right back up. And I thought, well, my only shot here is to try to undercut. So I took the early stop the second time. And when I came, the thing that killed me was that I kept making these small mistakes. I knew the lap times that I could run. And almost every lap I'd, dip a tire, or I'd almost catch one of those curbs, which just kill you. That's kind of what blew up my race. So I put in a good 2 or 3 seconds worth of mistakes in that middle stint, and ended up just coming up short.
It was still a lot of fun to watch, and I'm looking here to see if did we get points updated yet? Because I think we're just about to the point here where we can call this official for you. And if my math serves correct, Ryan, as long as you show up to the final 2 races of the season, you will be the Lionheart Retro Series presented by Butt Kicker champion this year. So congratulations on that. It certainly has been a great consistent season for you. 13 top 5s out of the 16 events so far this year. That's pretty phenomenal.
Oh yeah, thank you. It's been it's been kind of a turnaround year for me, because in the past I was pretty quick on the roads and really struggled in the ovals, and it seems like my luck has really turned around on the ovals, where I've been pretty consistently up there. But I've just been getting beat on the roads. So I'm looking forward to really next week. I think it'll be fun. I know Sage is just going to be on fire. So I think, a little bit of pressure lifted off. I don't feel like I need to be conservative. So we'll see what I can do when I'm willing to stuff the car into the fence.
I don't know if you heard him or not, but he said that is his favorite track. So
oh no.
yeah. That was first thing he said. Yeah, it was a good night. I'm really looking forward to Mosport. It's my favorite track. And Brian and I went, oh.
Oh man,
All right.
Hey,
Well,
he's been flying. He's definitely earned every win that he's gotten, and he keeps us on our toes. That's for sure. So it's been a pleasure race.
Ryan, it's been a pleasure to watch you as well. Congratulations on the podium again here tonight, and another great run for you in this one, and the championship, all but a formality at this point. So with that, we'll let you get going. Happy Thanksgiving, and we'll see you 2 weeks down the road in Canada, eh?
Oh yeah, thanks guys. Cheers.
Ryan Otis comes home third, and that championship, like we said, is going back to Oregon, it seems like, in the Lionheart Retro Series this year. Yaz, final thoughts on tonight's race? It was an interesting one.
It was. There was a lot of things kind of going on, and just a lot of battles that kind of popped up on the track. We were kind of talking about it at the beginning of the show that we were going to have, up at the top end, you were going to have your battle there, but then kind of the best of the rest. And that really provided some great action there between, some of the guys that we saw back there, Maul, Dalton, Cone, Jagerliner, Aaron Morgan with his alternative strategy. So there was kind of a lot to pay attention to tonight, but it was all in all, it was a good show.
Certainly was. I want to thank everybody that makes this race and this series possible for us. Graphics, the title sponsor of tonight's race. Of course, our friends at Butt Kicker for everything they've done for this series and sponsoring the Lionheart Retro Series this year, as well as George Anzaldo and the admin team at the Lionheart Series that provide us with so much great information and give us this opportunity to run in and race in this league and call these races here on the iRacing Esports Network. Big thanks to the software and hardware companies that we use for our broadcast here at Global Sim Racing Channel. You can see them listed on your screen. Additional thanks to June Lalonde, who also provides the wonderful music. If you are interested in more of her great work, you can check out the contact info right there on the screen. Thanks to our team today, the banker, Amjad, Dougie. If you'd like to find out more about GSRC, at globalsimracingchannel.com, along with the archived races and upcoming broadcasts. We're also on Twitter at GSRC Channel, at Facebook as well, /Global Sim Racing Channel. I know Sean Ambrose hosting watch parties all day. Been following along with those. Next race, we talked about it already. Everybody's excited. Mosport, Canada, December 12th, the penultimate race of the season. And the week after, we'll head to Auto Club. Put a bow on this one. Have some more upcoming races here on the iRacing Esports Network and GSRC flashing across your screen. Make sure you check them out. Mark them down on the calendar. Remember, Newman's first law, folks. Your brakes are useless when you're upside down. Happy Thanksgiving. Good night.